Hey, it's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? The very first shot on the iPhone 13, of which I just unboxed using a YouTube short, so if you haven't seen that already, go ahead and click the link that's appearing above and is found below. But we're on the iPhone 13 today for the real-world camera test. So we're going to check out the new shooters, we're going to check out the new modes, the different ways that you can use this for photos and videos. Exciting time. However, we do need to do one thing real quick, fairly quick, with this phone before we leave, and that's charge it up. The only problem with that is, oh, and I'm missing half the box, one sec. I was switching out the SIM card, so that's why the rest of the box is over here, but as you can see, no charging brick, which is why it's important to have a 20-watt charging brick, and in this case, we have one courtesy of the sponsor of this video, Anker. I have to find a place to plug them in, but they're right here in my pocket. Look at these cute little 20-watt chargers. These are fast chargers that can top up your iPhone in a pretty quick manner, and they come in a bunch of different little colors. I mean, take a look at that. We have ourselves the white one and the blue one right here. Why don't I go ahead and use the blue one so we can have something a little bit different, a little extra splash of color. Right now I'm at 55% battery, so why don't we just plug this thing in. I'll give it maybe like 10-15 minutes and let's see how much we get back using a 20-watt fast charger. Okay, it's been maybe 15 to 20 minutes-ish. Let's see where we're at. 79%. Still really good after just 15-20 minutes. That's plenty for what we're about to do. For more about the Anker Nano Pro for your iPhone 13 charging needs, or for any device that needs that fast charging, make sure you check out the link below. Okay, so here we are with the iPhone 13. You can see that I have this pink edition here, and it is a lovely device, even if that pink shade doesn't necessarily show up that easily, especially on camera. For most of you that might be looking at this video right now, it might actually look a little bit too almost white, to be honest. But as far as all of the other design elements are concerned, the iPhone 13 looks pretty much like the iPhone 12. Only one main thing has changed on it, and that is the configuration of these cameras. I have no idea if this ultimately helps with the actual shooting experience on the iPhone 13, but if you put this up against an iPhone 12, well, now you know which one is the 13. Now, of course, it is important to note that the iPhone 13 has some very significant differences when compared to the Pro lines, which I'll be getting to very soon. The main thing that you're missing in the iPhone 13 is the ProMotion display. So even though I have certain games on here that I would love to take advantage of that 120Hz screen with, that's just not going to happen here. Now, granted, the iOS interface is still very smooth. It's been like that for the longest time. So for most of you out there, you're probably not going to notice it that much, the difference between a ProMotion display and the one that's on the iPhone 13. I will say though, ProMotion's kind of nice to have, and it is missing here. And of course, if you look very closely, there is a smaller notch here at the top. There's still a notch though, and it's still very noticeable, so it depends on what kind of content you're actually looking at, but you will be able to very much see it up here, especially when you have lighter things in the background. Am I happy that it's a slight bit minimized this time around? Absolutely, but it's still there. Maybe one day we're gonna get an iPhone where it's just all screen all the time. And then of course the other differences have to do with the cameras, not just the fact that these are diagonal now in the iPhone 13, but there are some significant differences when it comes to the camera specs. So with that in mind, why don't we go ahead and get back to this real-world camera test. I'll start showing you some samples again, and I'll give you some more thoughts on these cameras in a little bit. And of course, one of the main things we will be testing now that we are on our way out is the cinematic mode. So let me walk a little bit this way. You can see Issa's right over there. If I were to tap on her face, there is the rack focus. So here's your first taste of it. We are going to somewhere quite nice though, so we can really get some cinematic shots using the cinematic mode.
Good day, you beautiful people.
Wrong
Welcome
channel.
to Joshua's video.
Wrong channel. Why don't we just dive straight into one of the main additions in the iPhone 13 line, and that would be the Photographic Styles. This is a feature that is available across all of the different devices, and it allows you to actually change up the color, contrast, and vibrancy settings when it comes to your actual shots. This is a little bit different than filters. After all, you can add filters after the fact. Instead, in the camera app, you're able to put all of these in real time and adjust them accordingly. It might be a little bit confusing as to how to get to those photographic styles. It's a brand new feature, so you just have to hit this button up here, which gets you straight to it. The other way to get to it, however, is to usually swipe up from the bottom, that is. That way you can get to the various settings here on the bottom, and it's also one of those buttons. Once you hit that, however, you will be able to change it up among the different styles. You have the standard one, which still provides a little bit of that HDR look, but then rich contrast is right over to the side. This is the one that I ended up shooting with the most, and I'll do my best to show off which photographic style I'm actually shooting with as the photos come up. And you can literally see here what the differences are. They may be subtle, but for those of you who have been using iPhones for the last, let's say, few generations, you know that smart HDR, that HDR look of iPhone photos does tend to even things out a bit too much. Sometimes we want to have some of that contrast in there. So it almost makes sense to me that rich contrast is the very next option in the photographic styles. Kudos to Apple for that. But of course, when it comes to HDR, you are getting some of those benefits when it comes to video, especially on the front-facing camera, which is able to do 4K at 24 frames, which is what I'm shooting with here for pretty much every video that I possibly can. Very, very bright day, but it's a cool day. That's exactly the kind of weather I really enjoy. Okay, front-facing camera here, so we're going to be seeing that smart HDR in video at work while we're going through the Huntington Gardens. It does make the iPhones a viable go-to solution for not just vlogging, but for social media videos, social media content, and that's probably something you have expected already. I'm on the wide-angle camera right now, doing my best to make sure everything is recorded at 4K at 24 frames per second. That way we can really keep that cinematic feel. The thing is, one of the reasons why I'm actually really excited about the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 13 mini that's in her hand right now is that they both have the upgraded main sensor with sensor shift stabilization. Big deal. So the photos are coming in with plenty of detail, good quality across the board, and with those photographic styles, you can actually change the way that the scenes are rendered. On the iPhone 13, you have the main sensor, which is probably the one you'll want to use the most when you want to achieve some of that shallow depth of field. And of course, we're going to talk about the cinematic mode in a little bit. And then the secondary lens is that wide angle. One of the main things about the iPhone 13 and 13 mini that's different from the Pro line is with this wide angle camera. Now, I'm using it for like some quick vloggy shots and all of that, but the wide angle camera on this one does not have the added capability of moving into a macro mode. As you can see here, you can get kind of close with a little bit of depth of field onto various subjects, but it's not going to switch over to the ultra wide and let you get like 2 centimeters away from any subject. Going to be a little windy in this shot, so hopefully the audio is not too bad. But let's move on to the next thing that the iPhone 13 will not have compared to the Pro models, and that's of course a zoom lens. This is one of those perfect scenarios where a zoom lens would be really nice. You have the Japanese garden over here with this building that I could zoom into to compress all of the other elements and just have the building from where I'm standing. Not really the case here, everything is digital zoom. iPhone quality is pretty much a known commodity now, especially in good lighting conditions. You can get great videos, and with the main sensor you have a natural shallow depth of field so that you can get some of those cinematic looks. But what if you wanted to add some software ingenuity into it? Well, that's exactly what Apple's trying to do with the cinematic mode. So you can see that we have a video mode here as per usual, but now cinematic mode gets its own section. It is straight up its own thing in the camera app. Once you get here though, if you want to change from the foreground to the background, here's one quick tip that I wanted to share. Alright, so we're going to jump into a screen recording real quick so I can kind of show you this tip I wanted to give. Alright, so we're in the cinematic mode, and I'm going to go ahead and hit record. You can see that it recognizes ISA, and the camera does a really good job of that. The mode does a good job of finding subjects, mainly people, and locking onto them. You're always going to have that box around their faces, and it will track pretty well. The thing is, if I were to try and get to the camera here, as I tap on the camera, what will happen is it will do its best to lock onto that subject. And for the most part, it's doing a pretty good job. But then it will always default back to going to a subject. The thing is, if I wanted to go, let's say, to the camera and really leave it there, I would rather just press and hold. And now that I've pressed and hold, you see AF lock at the top. It says AF lock in general when you tap on pretty much anything, but pressing and holding really makes sure that it is locked onto that subject. So there, you can see that while it does recognize Issa is in the background, it's not jumping back to her right away. So this is something that I just wanted to share. As I was shooting with this camera, I found myself tapping and holding to ensure that the AF lock happened. Then if I tap on Isa, there you go, a nice smooth rack focus back to her as the camera app is recognizing her face. And while I am going to be a little bit peeved that this whole cinematic video thing is not available in 4K resolution, I will say it's important because at 1080p it is able to get uploaded easily to any of the social media areas. Imagine your TikToks and your Instagram Reels and all of your vertical videos, including IG Stories and Snapchat, having just a little bit more of that cinematic feel. It's inspiring, or will be inspiring, a lot of people to give it a try and try to make videos using this very feature. Cinematic mode is really fun to use, and while people like me or people like you who are watching this right now who might know even a little bit about filmmaking would just say that it's rack focus, and that is a bit true. The other thing that you might have seen is that the cinematic mode might have some trouble on its own. For example, when Isa was moving around, you saw that the focus started to pulse, because even if it knows she's back there, it's still trying to figure out what exactly to focus on. That's also something that you might contend with when you do manual rack focusing yourself as well. There's a little bit of trial and error involved. The thing is, the cinematic mode, even though it is called something very filmic, very filmmaker-esque, is not necessarily for everybody, but it is a way for the casual user to get into that aspect of filmmaking for simple tasks like social media content. Back on cinematic mode for the front-facing camera, you can see everything behind me is getting a little bit blurred out. It's a nice cinematic look. What's nice about the way Apple is implementing this portrait mode video style footage, though, is that you can get into the photo apps a little bit later after you get the shot done, and then you can change what the focus is like. So while I can tap on Isa right now, I'm not going to. I'm actually just holding the phone on the Mantis Pod right now. I'm not going to touch the background while I'm recording. I'm going to do it right now in post. You can see that it changes up because it keeps the depth information, and you are able to fix it later on. So if you are a casual user who is getting the iPhone 13 or even the iPhone 13 mini, I feel like you have a pretty cool tool involved with these cameras that you can just experiment with, and your social media will probably be all the better for it. Okay, so ultimately those are all of the photos and videos that I was able to get at that visit with Isa to the Huntington Gardens. And overall, like with many iPhones up until this point, it does a really good job in those good lighting conditions. Now, the main sensor does get some boosts because it has a sensor shift stabilization now built in. That was originally what we got with the iPhone 12 Pro Max last year, but now it's on all of the iPhones, which is pretty great. I only got a couple of night shots, however, so here's what it looks like. The night mode does get a little bit better because of this stabilization. There's a wider aperture on the main camera, which is why a lot more of this light is able to come through. This is more or less accurate to what the scene looks like right now, so this is basically a accurate low light portrayal. You still get some of those light diodes coming through when you point it at a source of light, as you can see right in the middle there. But really, it's still good. Like, the low light video on all of the iPhones will get improved because of the better main sensor. And with that sensor shift stabilization, it all just gets enhanced further with some pretty smooth footage. And while you might be missing a few key features in the iPhone 13, there's a reason why there is a Pro line. There are certain Pro features like a zoom lens or macro photography or a couple of ProRes features that are just going to be on the Pros because that makes sense to put on the more premium devices. But for everybody else, I think that the iPhone 13 and actually the iPhone 13 mini are in a pretty great spot because they are providing quite a bit, and I had a lot of fun shooting with them already. For more on the iPhone 13 and of course the iPhone 13 Pro, which I'm still going to do a real-world camera test with, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I know this one took a little while to get out, but as the iPhones came out, the tech world got a little bit relentless. There was a lot of stuff going on, but don't worry, I'm going to make sure to get through all of my core content with these phones still, so look forward to all of that. Drop some likes on this video, get into the comment sections, let me know what you think of the iPhone 13 and all the camera samples that you saw. Did you get an iPhone 13? What color did you get? Let me know in the comments down below. With all of that said though, I'm going to go ahead and call it on this one. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves and each other, and enjoy your tea, everybody.